Live from the Nasdaq market site in Times Square, I'm Elyse Southwell, and this is Nasdaq Disruptors. Today we're talking about venture studios and building startup companies. We're here with Yao Huang, founder of the Hatchery, who's going to give us the download on the venture space and how you could turn your ideas into successful companies. Yao, thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
What is the Hatchery?
It's been around for quite some time, our 10th year this year, and we've been building it over the years in New York as a place that companies can come together and reach investors, corporations, founders, resources to build startups, which has grown over the last decade here in New York. And in the last few years, we've taken all our resources and built out an incubator innovation group that works with corporations to build startups backwards.
You've referred to, in other interviews and just our relationship, venture studios and venture collaboration forums. Can you tell us what that is?
So we specifically work with the end customer, and these are all enterprise products. So these are companies who build products or solutions that are sold to big businesses. So we work with large corporations, figure out some of their main issues that maybe they are unable to solve very quickly right now, or have the resources or talent to come together to build a new solution. And we'll build it along with them from a startup perspective, put teams together, innovative founders, and then work with them to bring it out to the world.
And you work with smaller companies as well, startups and emerging entrepreneurs?
Yep, so some of these ideas can be found within existing startups. Some of them we build on our own from scratch. But there are ideas everywhere, internationally, here domestically.
Sure.
And I think we're really in a heated time of entrepreneurship where people are able to have ideas and turn them into something fairly quickly.
Can you talk to us what the process is like when you meet an entrepreneur? You're in contact with an emerging entrepreneur. How is that process? What is it like?
So it could be that they have something already, or it could just be even an idea stage. So we work very early. We look at the people to see if they're interesting, if we can work with them. We see if the idea has legs and if corporations can get behind it. Basically, are there going to be customers? And then we bring around investors to see if this is something they would like to invest in as well. So all the steps around making this a successful business as early as possible.
So if I had an idea, would I go to thehatchery.com and I would just call you up? What would I do?
Yeah, you could give us a call, sit down with you. Actually, I did this earlier this week, and just thought through, actually insurance technology is very hot right now. Thought through some of these ideas of what could disrupt, what are possible, why are they not able to innovate, the legacy systems, what policies are in place. We really think through an entire space. Brainstorming sessions. This can go on for weeks until we find something interesting. And then we walk into some large corporations to see if this is something that would resonate. And in that conversation, the idea starts to morph. So basically, give it 1 month, 2 months, depends on the complexity, a product is formed. And then in that, a relationship is also built around to commit to building it.
What are the hot areas right now that you are hearing about?
Insurance tech, I think. It's something that's been around for a long time. They have systems that are built from the 1960s that's been sitting around and makes it very difficult for them to move out. They have a lot of infrastructure in place that prohibits them from making things less expensive, or an app that is $5 for something. Healthcare technology is really hot right now. Ability to come up with new drugs quickly. Fintech, super hot. Again, it's an area where there's old systems in place, large networks, offices everywhere. How do you make it nimble and effective as well?
Sure. Well, fintech resonates to us. We are rebranded as a fintech company.
Yeah.
Can you share a Hatchery success story with us?
So we have a product that's out in the market right now, predictably. We're working with IAC's Daily Beast. Worked with them for a number of months, figuring out a big problem within brands, content, marketing, and coming up with what consumers are interested in to figure out what kinds of stories and content you should create for them that would most resonate as brands are creating their marketing strategies and advertising and how they would outreach. So that's in the market. We're able to pull information from lots of places, marry them together in a way that hasn't been done before to best understand what is it that people want from anywhere.
And they wouldn't have thought of this idea before. You had this idea.
Well, they had the problem, but the solution wasn't there. So we worked together to create it.
Wow.
Yeah.
You said that it's your 10th year in business. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What was your inspiration for starting the Hatchery 10 years ago?
New York then, as a tech ecosystem, was very different. It's kind of like New Yorkers. It's a little harsh. No one wants to share. You get bumped in the subway all the time. So we wanted to make things easier, more accessible. Everyone was learning everything for the first time from scratch, and there was lack of sharing. A lot of the platforms weren't there. Social media was very young, if not existent. LinkedIn wasn't really built up yet. So networks weren't there. So what we started to do was a series of events to give investor access to entrepreneurs. And some years we'll do up to 80 events a year, giving investor access, pitching opportunities. We have these in different cities as well. But it's just, how can we share the things that we have, the resources we have with everyone so that they can skip some of the hard lessons and get to a place where there might be more success.
How about across the globe? So New York was obviously different 10 years ago. Because you're a global organization, how was it around the world then?
Even less. There were two hotbeds, Boston and San Francisco, and these other cities started to emerge as governments found that technology was a growth sector and was also the future, where jobs were. We decided to move to Prague and more recently set up something in Istanbul. And we think that the emerging markets where there are resources and opportunities and energy and desire and talent that could be harnessed for some new technologies.
You hear so much about the New York venture space and all around the U.S. You don't really necessarily hear so much about it in places like Prague and Istanbul. Is it very different there?
Well, we can stand out a lot more. Czech Republic has been known for great engineering, and we're trying to marry what they're really good at, building things, smart people, with the market opportunity here in New York. So it's almost like launching a company that exists in two cities at once without the burden of the money needed to expand. So you can be in New York without having to raise $1 million to go from Prague to New York, which shaves off a lot of years and hardship. Istanbul, there's a lot of interest from government fueling companies to expand out and also for companies to come in, although it's a little bit of a turmoil at the moment, but there's still a lot of business there. There are entire industry verticals that are very easy for us to access, healthcare, finance, for example. And, if a company can get access to 20 hospitals, I think Turkey becomes an option all of a sudden.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your favorite part of your job?
I love solving problems. I love being tasked with something that would disrupt an industry and change it just by building it. And being able to build it quickly and seeing it come to fruition, I think is super exciting.
Did you study that in school, or is this innate? I mean, because you're so successful, so
Thanks.
It's so impressive.
I didn't. Actually, what I did study was a scientific method. I was molded as a scientist, got a doctorate in pharmacy, and went to work for the drug companies. Quit my corporate job and started tech companies and never went back. So picked it all up while everyone else was picking it up as the internet was shaping up, decades ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
What keeps you up at night?
Well, with all these portfolio companies and the entrepreneurs, it's really just making sure that they get everything that they need. They're always bugging me for helping me with this, introductions, investor meetings, and it's just making sure everyone is taken care of.
Nasdaq's culture is all about ambition and innovation and having that entrepreneurial spirit. Can you give advice to all the entrepreneurs out there?
Just do it. If you are, good luck. If you haven't, you're thinking about it, which I think a lot of people are, just jump in, give it a shot. It's the best experience you'll have. You can't learn it anywhere. You just have to experience it. All the lessons are there. It's great to get mentors. There's a lot of incubators and accelerators out there that can help and support, so you don't have to fail unnecessarily. But it's been easier than ever to start a company. The cost has diminished. The networks are more established. And you are in the best country right now to do it, in that there are large numbers of investors. There are entrepreneurs who are willing to help. And even New York has changed so much that people will sit down with you for coffee and let you know about their experiences, whether it be in building a company or the market sector. And, you know, it's kind of nice to follow a dream.
Oh,
And
sure.
You only have one life, so, you know, might as well give it a shot.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for watching. I'm Elyse Southwell, and this is Nasdaq Disruptors.